Hi, everyone. Welcome to this next part of Athanasius On the Incarnation. So he's asking the question, if our intent is to talk about the incarnation, why are we talking about the origin of humanity? Why are we spending so much time here? The answer to that is what's called the pro nobis, as scholars call it. That's for us, that Christ and God has done this for us. And thus, that is the divine dilemma that God has done something for us. But what makes it a dilemma? What makes this, where is this necessity coming from? And Athanasius bases this off of what he calls the philanthropia, is a Greek word for compassion or the divine, the great love of the logos or the word. And so the issue here is humanity has sinned, thus brought on the condemnation of death. And quote, Athanasius says, "For the transgression of the commandment returned them to the according to the nature." I've translated it that way to emphasize that it's this natural state of humanity that's at issue here. And this is then the thing. What that means is humanity was created, right? We are a created being. We are not God. We are not uncreated like God is. So that means we came out of non existence. And so that's our natural state. It's like this vacuum pulling us back into it. This natural state is non existence, but God has pulled us out of non existence into existence when we need to hold to him in order to exist. And so turning away from God means turning to non-existence. And so then Athanasius says humanity is by nature mortal, having come into existence from non-existence. Being created necessarily means mortal. But and here then is, I love Athanasius's rhetoric. He states a claim and then he says, but God implanted his own image in us. Whoa, that's just crazy. And he quotes from Psalm 82, "I said you are gods and all sons of the Most High, but you will die as men." And here then is that issue, that juxtaposition. Moving into section 5, "For not only had God made us from non existence, but also by the grace of the Logos, of the Word, he granted to us that we should live the life with God." And that's kind of his summary of Psalm 82, 6 to 7. That we were brought from non existence and invited into this divine existence. But we are corruptible by nature. And that's Athanasius' words. We are corruptible by nature. That is a problem here. But by grace, in the participation of the Logos, and there's that doctrine of deification, we can flee from this nature and remain blessed by clinging to participation in the Logos. And in that divine life, we can remain blessed. And Athanasius then quotes from Book of Wisdom of Solomon, "God created man for incorruption." That's the whole reason God did this from the beginning. I'm going to bring something from non existence and I'm going to bring it into beyond comprehension. I'm going to bring something vulnerable to corruption into incorruption. That just doesn't make sense. But this is what God is doing. And the image of and planting in him the image of God's own eternity. But death entered the world by the envy of the devil. And so thus humanity was cursed, and this is John Bear's translation, became insatiable in sinning. This that's power. I don't like it, but that he captures that image so well. And then my translation, each rivaling each other in lawlessness. So my daughter here is listening in. And so this is then the divine dilemma, that we are created, brought out of non-existence, given the word and the image of God, invited to cling to the Logos, and yet we have turned away from that, condemning what living into our condemnation and reverting to non-existence. And so remember these but statements, these but this, and that's what leads into this divine dilemma that we will unpack with section 6 at its climax. Thank you.